Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Okay, so we're working on the collision for our Aqueous spell against entities. Now, that worked, that triggered the splash. But if we attack from the left side, it kind of, you see how it's pushing back even though it's not colliding? That's what I don't get. Why is it pushing back? Let's see if we can figure this out. Then we can add the hit flash. So like when you get hit, you flash red. We need to add a sound bite, sound confirmation for the gecko splash, as well as the red flash, and then I think the effect will sell along with fixing these collision implementation details. Okay, so let's just see. And so see, this dot around us is where Llama is. And actually, that should be hitting. Okay. You know what? Yeah, we probably need to offset this circle a bit, because look at how it just looks slightly off, yeah? I mean... yeah. We might want to modify that. Okay. And you know what? We should render the element to the projectile. Shit. Okay. So we're rendering the blue projectile, but then we have like a secondary projectile somewhere. Oh. Oh, the spell level. Yeah. Okay, let's turn this one off. Okay, so that blue dot is what we're checking collision for with an entity upon a successful Aqueous cast. There we go. Okay. So that blue circle is the actual collision for the spell. And see, it lingers just a little bit, which is fine. We gave it a life cycle that long intentionally, just to kind of let, I don't know, maybe we'll speed it up just a bit. But look at this. So like this, now the blue circle hits and pushes back. Oh, even... yeah, see, it should be... I don't know, it should be pushing back a little further. Because the gecko's head is still inside the collision, so that makes me think we're kind of doing collision just a bit wrong. But then look at this side. This side, see, look at how early it's pushing it. The blue square is pushing back the entity before we're even touching it. So this is what's wrong. Okay. So how do we fix this? Well, I don't exactly know what's going on. Maybe we're checking collision with the top left of the gecko instead of the center. So if there's potentially, let's try that. Let's see if we're rendering the circle around us. Let's also render a rectangle. And we'll put it just at the location of our gecko. So now we should see a little outline here. Okay, so now Let's see if the left side is colliding with this box instead. No, I don't think it is. Oh, you know what? It's actually, no, yeah, because that's not any more disjointed from a circle, so oh, we might. Oh, let me see. Because we're doing detection with a circle, but what if the circle was at X and Y, meaning the center of the circle was at that top left origin point? Let's see. That looks right. That looks like what I'm colliding with. Yeah. Okay, so now the blue spell collides with that. With that top left circle, right? Yeah. That's why. That's the collision we're actually calculating for, instead of the center of the gecko. So we need to just move our center point of calculation from the top left of our gecko to the center of our gecko. And then it should work. Okay, so if we look at our entity class, we have a circle collides method, and we're checking collision here. What? Oh, the target X. Okay, so right here when we get this, instead of doing the X, we need to add half a tile size. Yeah. Right? Yeah, because we're not checking the top left quadrant of any of these values. We're checking the middle of our gecko. We want the circle to come out from the middle of our gecko. Okay, so now let's see if the collision's looking right. Oopsie. Huh. It's working, but it didn't knock him back nearly far enough. Why is it not knocking him back anymore? We must have screwed this up. That barely hit him. See, that's not re-triggering him. It's too far away. Shoot. That is not it. Okay, well, remember this stuff, you know, we're trying to, gosh, it's kind of confusing, but yeah, we try to find the A leg of our triangle, right? A distance between 2 points. And we're trying to figure out what the bigger X is and the smaller X is so that we can get the correct number for the side length, which is right here, bigger minus the smaller. So when we're going to calculate what is the bigger X meaning what thing is, you know, on the left side, what thing is on the right side. So when there's an entity, if the entity is the self, then we're saying, well, the bigger X is the bigger of two values, either the self of the gecko, which is what we need to modify. So we need to modify that, not the target. The target is the projectile that we pass in, and we check it on the entity. So we're just going to put, and for right now, I'm just going to put +8 because it's much easier to type. So the +8 offsets this collision check. Instead of being at the top left of the gecko, it's going to check the center of the gecko. So now hopefully we can actually just get rid of our secondary circle here that renders at the top left position, and just have the circle ones and see if this is looking correct. Okay, let's see. Okay, so far so good. That looks right. That looks right. Yes, it looks like it's pushing it correctly now. Yes. Because see, it pushes it, it like locks him in, so he's like just, you know, his nose can't go past it. That's good. Then if we get closer, he's still colliding with that post. So the spell can go through him if what's behind him, you know, is stopping the slide. But that looks right. Nice. That looks right. Let's try the other directions real quick. Nice. That looks right. I don't know how I feel about Flamma being an entity. I always knew it was revolving around us at all times, and we only see it if we're successfully casting. But it does kind of distract a bit. But this looks right. So now we should just need that flash, that red flash, and then a sound confirmation. That looks right. I mean, that one looks like it's prematurely colliding, like within 1 pixel, but no, that looks fine. I kind of think we should add some kind of functionality to the loot. Oh, what is this? Look at our circle rendering just changed when we went to the loot and came out. You see that? Yeah, look at our circles are blurry here. But if we equip the loot and switch here, we get like a different looking circle. I wonder what that's about. Yeah, it's like a pixel perfect circle now. Okay. So look, I guess we don't we de-instantiate it when it walks off screen, but if he walks into a collidable surface, then he doesn't actually de-instantiate, so that's good to know. Cool, man. Okay. This is great news. Yeah, this is great news. Okay, so I guess one thing that isn't so great. See how there's like there's actually like a 2 pixel buffer there. It's okay. Oh, no. Well. Okay, you know what? I know what to check. What we're going to check is in the aqueous projectile. We're going to set a spell level of 2. Spell level of 2. And what that is, when you take your elements to the refinery and level up, you get a bigger spell. So see how now that blue circle's bigger, and if we wanted to, we can get that on screen. Okay, let's see if the collision works on this. It looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks good. See, that looks correct. So maybe we were rendering a spell 2 collision instead of spell 1, because that actually looks correct. So let's see. I bet spell 3 is actually wrong. I bet level 3 spell is actually wrong. Let's see. Yeah, see? Okay, so we're only doing the calculation based on a level 2. Oopsie. Okay. Yeah, I think we're only doing the collision correctly for a level 2, which is this tile size divided by 2, this half tile size circumference or diameter. Okay, so in the entity class, in our circle collides, we just need to take in a where is it? Circle collides. Right here. Okay, so this cast radius needs to inherit not the tile size by 2, but the spell level of our player. So that should be spell level, right? Spell level. No, it's a spell level on the projectile. Okay. So spell level on the projectile. We're at a level 3 right now. So let's test the level 3 collision now. So it's not the G player, but it's the aqueous projectile spell level on the G player. Okay, let's try now. We're looking for the collision with the bigger blue circle now. Oh, it's even too big. Oh, well, that was pretty close, actually. Yeah, see, like, that looks right. See, that just doesn't look right. It's pretty close, though. See, that's just like too far. So why is that wrong? It's pretty close. Let's go back to spell level 1 and see if that's working. See, it's just a little bit off. It's like his nose is just into it. I mean, this is probably passable, but why is it overlapping just a teeny tiny bit? Yeah, it's overlapping by a couple pixels, right? Yeah, see, the green should be outside of the blue by the time it lands, and it's just not. It's only off by like a teeny tiny bit, though. And it's kind of consistently off by something. Yeah, we're gonna get the spell level right here, and we get the spell level right here. Level 1, yeah. Let's see if level 2 is exactly right or not, because when we hard coded this to tile size divided by 2, it was perfect. So let's see if it's perfect here. See, that looks pretty much right. Yeah. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so why is it still spell level 2 is the only one that's working perfectly? You know what? Yeah, actually. So see how the green circle stays outside the blue circle, which is good. It's just that when we increase the size, it's still off. We gotta put on the right spell, first of all. There we go. Okay. So see, yeah, see, look at that. See, it's prematurely colliding right there. Are we doing the same thing, man? Are we doing the same thing we used to? If we put a circle at the top left of us, is it looking right? It's not this one. It's that we want right here to have a tile size diameter and a +8/+8. I just want to see if level 3 is correct if we project it like this. Let's see. Okay, definitely not. I'm rendering it. I'm trying to render the entities. No, see, because no, it can't be. See, I feel like the circle we're checking for collision with against the gecko is also growing by this radius, which we only need to grow the projectile radius, not the entity's radius. So the cast radius should be different than the target's radius, but we're... No? Oh, yeah. That does kind of make sense because we're only checking if the distance... Okay, so we have to account for this. I think this is making sense because we're checking the two center points for collision, right? We're doing this. So like if this is the entity, this is the spell, the center point is what we're casting for. So when we go to check the distance between 2 points and calculate the hypotenuse here, we're checking to see, and the line of code is if side C is less than the cast radius times 2. So the cast radius is this, whatever this spell level is. So we're checking if the C is, yeah, if the hypotenuse is equal to or greater than, no, equal to or smaller than the cast radius. So if the two circles are touching, but that implies circles of the same size. When only one circle is getting bigger. So we need to offset. We need to offset this by a factor of the size of the circle. Yeah. We need to offset this by a little bit. Because I think what's happening... Uh-oh. I lost my GIMP page. Okay. Yeah, this is it because we're checking the hypotenuse to be smaller than the cast radius times 2. Now, we do a times 2 to account for 2 radiuses of 2 circles touching. So that's the cast radius by 2, because if the C is shorter than this, that means the circles would be touching. But what we're not accounting for is when we're setting this cast radius, we set this cast radius based on the spell level of a changing diameter circle. So when we're at a spell level 3, we're checking a bigger circle against the smaller circle, but the logic is just checking for cast radius times 2. So that's why it's prematurely detecting when it's bigger. So we just need to actually calculate this, which is going to be a cast radius plus a tile size divided by 2, and that should fix it. So the tile size divided by 2 is the half of a tile radius plus a cast radius, which could be a tile size by 2 if a spell level is 2. But otherwise, it should just scale with it. So that should fix it. Yes. See how he's just outside of that big circle now. That's it. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Okay. This should be it. Yes. See how the green is staying outside? And I bet you it works with the smaller level too. Let's check it though. So you'll have a bigger area of effect with a higher spell level, and we'll probably change the sprite that we render for it too, if not a particle system. That looks all correct to me. That looks completely right. So let's check. We want to change our level. And we want to check each level. So let's check a level 2 now. We confirm level 3 is working. Okay. That looks right. Yeah. That's totally it. Okay, let's try level 1. So level 1's the smallest circle. It's just where the render is. You know, just where the sprite is. So that's the default level 1 aqueous. It's just right the size of the sprite. Cool. Okay, it is kind of cool to see the Flamma circle there because that's what's happening under the hood with Flamma. Even when you're not casting, it's still rotating around you. You just may or not, may not be able to see it. Okay. This is great. This is great. Let's check our git diff here. Okay, we are in our render for our aqueous projectile, we're rendering these test dots. We changed a little bit of our circle collides method. The biggest difference being we're accounting for the changing radius of the element here when we do our collision. And also we check the collision based on the center of our gecko rather than the top left of our gecko. That's the +8 that is in all of these calculations here. But then other than that, that's all we did. But it fixed all of the collision issues for Aquis, which is huge. So we'll say that this was add proper collision detection for Aquis spell level. And then why don't we also just try and add the hit, right? So if we get damaged, we flash red and become hit. And there's some sound, right? You know what? We changed the render order of the gecko. Normally the gecko renders on top of us. So we must have changed that at some point. But you know what? I kind of like... I kind of think we might need to rehaul some of the render order layer stuff to be dependent on Tashio's location, right? Because if we're in front of a gecko, he should appear behind us. But if they're beneath us, it should appear in front of us, if that makes sense. For like a render order layer perspective. Right now, I'm going to turn off the circle render here for the projectile as well as the entity. Cool. Okay. And then we'll see if we can add the hit. Okay, let's see what our hit is. Look, I think we call it damage flash. So it looks like we do have a damage flash on the entity, but it's wherever we're playing the hurt sound, yeah? Damage flash, damage flash. Okay, let's try this. Are we really playing a hurt sound for the geckos on the fire spell? I think it might be overwritten. Oh, it does play the hurt. It does play the hurt. Okay. Well, let's try this. Let's try a damage flash, because if we look at the entity and we look at what a damage flash is, if damage flash is true, there's a flat right here. If damage flash is true, we start decrementing, and then if it reaches 0, we become unflashing. So this flashing should get set to true too upon a damage flash, right? Damage flash true, yeah. Okay. And maybe hit. Okay, let's just worry about this because I think hit is already there. So if we look at where we're doing the knockback for an Aquis spell, right? Aqueous collides. We have a hit. Okay, so this knockback speed, when we apply the knockback speed and we become splashed, we need to also say, well, you're going to become damage flash. You're going to become hurt play. Play the sound hurt and become damage flash. Let's see if the geckos can flash red now. Not quite. There's something going on, right? Because this is happening if we're casting and if the thing is colliding. So if we only want to do this two things, right? We only want to do these two things if we're not already damage flashed. We only want to do this once, right? Until damage flash gets reset. So if this is the first time, we're going to play it only once. And then that damage flash gets reset. Oh, come on, dude. I don't really hear... the hurt sound, but the damage flash is definitely not working. Okay, so that's not quite it. Now, oh, you know what? I think one thing that's really screwing us here is the blue flashing. Because as soon as we collide Aqueous and the entity, we become blue flashing, which is setting the color. It's setting the color of the graphics before we render the state machine. So what that means is we have an orange gecko, and if we want it to look orange, we set the color to white before we render. But we're doing this blue flash by setting the color not to white, but to like a blue. So there's only so blue we can get because it's already orange. And we're rendering it, we could render it all blue, but it kind of just gets darker because what it has to work with is a certain lumosity to begin with. So when we go to become flashing, like we do this damage flash. And where do we set the color for this damage flash or anything like that? I don't see where we're doing it. Let's check our render and just see when we're doing, if self-flashing. Okay, so see, we're setting the color to red flashing here, but then we're overriding the red that we just set the color of to the blue because we were blue flashing instead. So we just do a different set color. So for right now, maybe we can just try to move the damage flash to be later in the render stack and just see if we can get the flash at all coming out of the gecko. So let's see that. We took out the damage flash, did we not? In the... damage flash. True. See, we want this stuff, but we want it right upon our initial collision here. So if we collide here and we're not already damage flash, Okay, so let's look at what happens when you're damage flash. You may become flashing because we set a timer. So wait a second. Damage flash duration. Okay, so there's a timer. Okay, whatever. I'm trying to figure out if we start with flashing red or not. See, we're still not getting it. We're still not getting the red. I think it's because it must be the render order layer somehow. If the type of entity is not a spell cast, yeah. For flashing set color. Okay. I'm not too set on keeping this commit as of yet. I think we might need to just get better with rendering color. I think we might have a better time if we just do a grayscale entity and then we render the color before we render the sprite. That way we can get a full orange looking orange, we can get a full blue looking blue, a full red looking red, just based off the love.color, love.set color, love.graphics.set color. So I think we will ultimately change that. Yeah, you know what? Okay, what I'm gonna do is, what did we change? Oh, we just took off our rendering. We took off our rendering from that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stash that change. We made our commit, so I think I'm gonna call it a night here. It is very good that we got the collision fixed, so I'm excited about that. I think we'll have to change how we render the gecko to get better colors, and it's just one of those things that I didn't plan sooner. But I think it's pretty clear if we want it to flash different colors like blue and red, because especially when it's corrupted, look how dark the purple is already. So when we do a love.graphics set color to red on top of the purple, it's just going to look black. Because it's just increasing the red channel on an already dark looking image. So I think we should go to a neutral gecko, and then that also means we don't need two different sprites. We don't need two different sprite sets for the gecko. We just have a neutral gecko, and then we render purple if it's corrupted, orange if it's cleansed, red if it's damaged, and blue if it's slowed. So I think that's why we need to just make one atlas of grayscale gecko, and then we tint him whatever we want. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll get that started tomorrow. I've got a big work event tomorrow, all day after work, so it might be very late and we might not get a whole lot done, but I'm gonna try to be back tomorrow, even though I've got like a 15-hour workday. It's probably, yeah, no, it is like a 15-hour workday. That sucks. Okay, well, thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow, work permitting, but thanks for hanging. I appreciate the lurkers, the support. If you want to wishlist the game, you can go on steam.tashio.dev. Go wishlist the game if you haven't already. You can play it at tashio.dev. If you want to give it a shot and play with the Game Boy buttons, which is kind of how the game was designed to be played, which is something that isn't so apparent if you're on Steam on the keyboard. But maybe we'll add a little thing saying this is intended to play with the controller. Just, it feels so much better on controller. Anyways, have a good night, y'all. We will raid out here to somebody, hopefully streaming software, and call it a night. No one's streaming. Ear End is streaming. We'll hit Ear End again. Okay, well, thanks for watching, y'all. Peace out.